Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2. While we have a lot of good fights this weekend happening in the boxing world, there's a big matchup happening over in the UFC as well. All my MMA supporters, I haven't forgotten about you. Let's get into this one. This is a highly anticipated fight, a rematch at that. So the history of these two, man, it writes itself. Let's start with Alex Pereira. 7 wins, 1 loss, 6 wins by way of knockout. He lost his first MMA fight where he got submitted in the 3rd round, but that was back in 2015, right? And I heard that he gave up MMA kind of shortly after that, and he was sitting at a bar and they were watching TV and they were watching one of Izzy's fight, and Adesanya mentioned his name because the reporter mentioned Alex Pereira's name, and Izzy said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, "My name makes his name bigger because he beat me in the past." Something like that. Again, paraphrasing. The story goes that was the inspiration that brought Alex Pereira back into the octagon. 2021, he joins a UFC. 3 fights later in the octagon, he's fighting against who? That same person that he was watching on the TV that day, Israel Adesanya. And not only is he in the ring against Adesanya, but he becomes the champion in 8 fights. 8 fights is not a whole lot of fights, right? That goes to show you how good that this guy is. He's deceivingly strong, right? Because I think he hits harder than what he may look, right? He's explosive. However, he's not the fastest starter, but once he gets going, man, it's hard to withstand his attack. He's got power in both hands. And once he gets in close, man, if he connects with the shot, it can be over for you very quickly. I mean, Sean Strickland felt that power very quickly in their fight. And not to mention, coming from a kickboxing background, you have to watch out for Alex Pereira's leg kicks as well. And that's one of his strengths. His fight against Izzy was his first 5-round fight. I mean, they pushed this fight up big time, right? Because of everything that was attached to it, which the first 5-round fight in a championship fight, I mean, that could possibly be why he wasn't as aggressive early as he was, right? But every round you could see he was trying to close the gap, trying to get in close. And once he gets in close and has that range, right, you have to watch for everything because he doesn't need a lot of room to maneuver and he doesn't need a lot of room to get his shots off. Obviously, we haven't seen him wrestle too much and we know that's not a part of his strengths, but I'm sure he probably went back to work on that as well too, because maybe Izzy goes into this one and focuses more on the takedown. But Alex Pereira, you know, he is a top striker. He's a striking guy, and that's obviously where he feels most comfortable. So I'm assuming he's probably going to come in with a similar game plan, right? Now, what was interesting about that fight to me was, from Pereira's perspective, man, there was a lot of stalking done by Pereira. The first few rounds were interesting because I was thinking to myself, man, like, yo, you can't just stalk Izzy and not really let your hands go, right? You can't just give him the amount of space where he can jab and then follow it up with the right hand down the middle, or where he can just jab and strike you from a distance because, man, he's been able to dominate that same manner. So I'm thinking to myself, either this is some type of psychological war that he's doing. He's going to try to go back to that and remember some of the movements and angles that Izzy was taking as he was just stalking, downloading information, as they so like to speak. But it was just interesting to me. But at the same time, Pereira never really looked flustered. He never really seemed like the moment was too big for him. He never really looked worried. Even when he got wobbled in the first round by a right hand by Izzy and then the bell rang, right? Usually when you get wobbled, you come back, right? And you're still a little bit wobbly, but Pereira came back and it was like he recovered right away. That moment that he was talking to his coaches on the stool, right? He came back and it was like he didn't get hit. It was like he was refreshed all over again. So the man recovers very well. But each round after that, some of the shots that he was missing with, man, they were just getting a little bit closer to Izzy, right? Some of them were starting to land to the chin, to the body. It was starting to disrupt some of Izzy's movements, right? Not that Izzy ever looked in trouble, but you could see, man, perhaps some of that stalking It was part of his plan. And we'll come back to this. Let's talk about Israel Adesanya, the last style bender. 23 wins, 2 losses, 15 wins by way of knockout. Let's not forget that Izzy is one of the most dominant fighters in the middleweight division. And that can get lost in the scope of things because we just seen him lose recently. His other loss came from going up another division to take on their champion in Jan Blachowicz, and he took a risk to move up, and that risk didn't pan out in his favor. But you have to admire and respect a guy who is going to take that, who is going to put his O on the line to try and be great. But in the middleweight division, he was winning everything. In some fights, he won with ease. Like when he fought Marvin Vettori. Marvin thought that fight was a lot closer, but I don't know what was going on in his mind. I don't know what he was seeing, but he got pieced up by Izzy. So this is a guy who has been consistent and proven that he is great. And we've gotten to see that countless amount of times, over time. Now, against Pereira, everything was going great, I felt like, right? Izzy was outstriking him, countering him effectively, and moving well in the octagon. He respected Pereira's power, so he wasn't about to just stand there and trade shots with this guy, right? Izzy was slipping and moving and clinching when Pereira was in close, right? So early on, yeah, Pereira had some very good moments, but Izzy was winning the fight. He was sharper, right? And the experience was showing as well, too. There were a few rounds where Izzy had him hurt, buzzed him a little bit. And in the next round, as I said, Pereira would come back and he recovered again. Izzy took him to the ground a few times, landed some big shots, and showed that, hey, man, I know I'm not known for my takedown, but look, this is something that you have to watch out for. Like, I can change levels, giving Pereira something else to look at. And he had success when he did it. I thought Izzy fought a very good fight. And in the 4th round, Izzy looked like he was in complete control. Pereira looked like he was slowing down a little bit. Izzy looked like he was starting to open up, using that piston-like jab that he has, and was starting to come through with landing the shots that he was trying to set up in previous rounds before. And I remember after that round, I was thinking to myself, man, I wonder what Alex Pereira has left, because Izzy has found his groove, he's found his flow, he's found his rage, man. He's comfortable. And when he's comfortable, it's a tough guy to beat. Now, the 5th round starts and Pereira turned on the pressure again, similar like how he did in that 1st round. Started stalking him all over again, but at a quicker rate. But this time, he started throwing more shots. And he caught Izzy on the back of the octagon in a little bit of corner. And then Pereira started to get closer. And then it was just one shot over the other. And then Izzy tried to clinch him. And as he tried to clinch, he got caught with another shot. And that was when things started to turn very quickly for Adesanya. It almost seemed like Pereira was saving energy and saving everything for one solid round, because the 4th round, he looked gassed. But the 5th round, it's like he made up in his mind to say, you know what, man, I'm giving every single thing that I have. I'm emptying my energy right now. And it paid off. And again, it was interesting because Izzy was winning the fight on the scorecards, but Pereira shifted things in one moment. So who wins? Izzy is always confident and always in the right state of mind, says all the right things when it comes to when questions are being asked about how this fight is going to go. But every athlete has a little bit of doubt in their minds, right? It just happens like that, even if they don't acknowledge it, especially if you're familiar with someone, it starts to creep in your mind just a little bit more. Now, Pereira has beaten Izzy a few times, right? So he's got the psychological edge and he's beaten Izzy twice. And that is often what you take into mind when you're thinking about it from a psychological standpoint. I've been in races where I have lost to the same guy a couple times throughout the circuit. And even though I know that I can beat them subconsciously, you kind of start to think, man, this guy's got my number. You never acknowledge it vocally. You never say it, because when you are in competition, you have to go in as if you are the best and you're going to dominate every performance. You never tell yourself it is not going to work out in your favor, but it does creep into your mind for a split second. Pereira was losing the fight, right? Until he wasn't. Is he going to rely on that power and pick one round and then be reactive to that one round and give it all that he can for one round? Or will he come out more aggressive, because when he was aggressive, when he was letting his hands go, he was having success, right? Will he be better? I have to believe so. Will Adesanya be better? We have to believe so. And that's what you would expect with these two guys, the level of fighters that they have in the history and the competitiveness. Izzy has consistently, in my opinion, been the better fighter, but Pereira has had the better moments. And in a sport like MMA, all you need is one moment to change the whole fight. However, I'm going to go with consistency, and I'm taking Israel Adesanya to win this fight by decision. I think the loss motivated him even more, and I think he's going to come in with a similar game plan because it was working and he was having success, but I think he's going to make some small adjustments and he will be able to hold on to get the win and to get back his title. But at the same time, Pereira needs a moment. Will he find that moment? How quickly will he try to seize that moment? I think Izzy will be able to hold on. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of the channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. We also started a membership on the channel. I want to thank each of the members that did join, man. I appreciate each of you. Your support is truly appreciated, man. And thank you for rocking with me, and thank you for rocking with the channel, man. I appreciate each of you. So with all that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll see you next time.